Greetings, you're tuned into the MOETODAY Series on Black Muslim businesses, and we're going to be talking about real estate today. And the cool thing about real estate is that there's so many aspects of real estate that you can be interested in participating in, and I think a lot of people get it mixed up too. You got the retail and the sales side of business of real estate. You've got the consumer side of real estate. You've got the development side of real estate. And depending on who you are and where you are, you could be on any level of it. I love development, but I also like the consumer side as well. I like to buy and sell it. I started out in real estate as a salesperson. That I can't say that I like. However, I do like developing real estate, and I definitely love selling it and making the money back off of it. So we are going to give it a couple of minutes, and we're going to be talking here today. I just want to let me find my announcements real quick before we bring on our guest, okay? All right, so couple things happening. So 6 p.m. tonight, I'm gonna be on the Plug Room with my brother Juan Carlos X, and we're gonna be talking about urban historic reservation, or developing properties that are important to historic communities. And then, let's see, that's that. Then tomorrow night is the manifestation series. You guys don't want to miss this series. We are really enjoying ourselves and really going through a process of developing our minds beyond some of the obvious things that are out there about manifesting and changing your mindset. The real idea is to become a conqueror with your mind. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. That show is entitled The Mind of a Conqueror, and we're going to be going based upon the book, The Master Key System. But we're really diving into some of those tools and strategies. Okay, and then Saturday we're back here for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks. And then Sunday, I'm going to be on WHID, and you'll see that flyer here with my good sister Mariam Khalila. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on the 13th. And I'll remind you guys of all of this. So what we're going to do today, we're going to let my sister, I don't know if I see you here. I think, Sister Latasha, do I see you? I think that's you, daughter of, let me make sure I got it. Yeah, I see you. So we're going to give it, let's give it one more minute to let everybody get in the room here. Instagram's numbers are always off. I know you guys are in the room and you're here. Okay, I see her. She's there. We'll grab her and bring her in. But we're going to really talk about real estate. This is one of my favorite subjects. Shout out to HACIA, the Hispanic Associations of Construction Industry Association. I think I said that right. But we had a great time last night at the HACIA banquet here at the Chicago Hilton. I got a good opportunity to reconnect with the mayor of Chicago. That was great. There were some really powerful people there in the room. And of course, we were there representing, I was with my contractor, Blackwood, but I was representing the Elijah Muhammad House. So it was wonderful, really wonderful. Okay, so we're going to bring on Sister Latasha, and I'm not sure which one she wants to be live from, but I just picked one, and we'll see. But let's get into this real estate discussion, okay? So many people nowadays are talking about, I want to be in the real estate. I'm getting into real estate. Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Walaikum salam, man. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, this is such a hot topic. It's something that I love. I love real estate. I started out in sales and then navigated into development, but I still like selling it. I like developing. I just love the concept of it. So I'm anxious to talk to you today.
I really thank you for bringing me on, because I've been actually meaning to do a live about my journey and how it all got started and all that, because I to this day still get inboxes. I get a lot of questions about how to get into it and what did you do, and I still get a lot of questions that I just haven't answered. And so, yeah, I thank you for bringing me on to answer some of those at least.
You know, absolutely. Because you know what happens in our community is that we are so trendy, right? So we see everybody else getting into real estate, and then we want to get into real estate. We see everybody else getting into healthcare, and then we want to get into healthcare. But real estate, just like anything else, you have to have the personality for it. You have to have the stamina for it. It's not something that you just jump in because you see it's something that everybody else is doing. I say the same thing to people about healthcare. I spent 12 years really deeply entrenched into healthcare and healthcare real estate development. But it's a whole different game, sis, when you got people's lives in your hand.
Sis,
on a
oh my God.
basis. So real estate, I can't wait. I'm sorry about that. I cannot wait to talk more to you about it. So introduce yourself. Tell us about just how you got started in the real estate game and really why.
Yes, ma'am, I will. Okay. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his exalted Christ and messenger and Messiah in our midst, and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine reminder, mercy, grace, and warner today. And I greet everyone who's watching with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. I'm Sister Latasha Muhammad, for those of you who don't know. And I'm just your sister, you know, that's it, just your little humble sister. And I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia. I relocated from Denver, Colorado. Actually, I arrived here on the day of Holy Atonement, the Holy Day of Atonement of 2019. So it was October.
From Denver to Atlanta. And where had you graduated from college or gone to real estate school, or how did
so when I was back in Colorado, it's where I'm from, I just felt like I had, for some reason, always seen myself in Atlanta. I always seen myself, you know, around our people and selling property. And in Colorado, I was in healthcare too. I was an EMT for 4 years. So I was, you know, in the downtown streets of Denver in an ambulance, picking up, you know, sick people, responding to 911 calls, triaging on certain situations, doing all that crazy stuff, because it's a crazy world in that field. And I just was unhappy. You know, there was something that was just unhappy. I had went to college, but to be honest, I mean, my degree hasn't gotten me anywhere. You know what I mean?
What you major? What was your degree in?
I didn't even know at the time. It was general studies. You know, I had really no direction of like what I actually wanted to do. And I was going to go into nursing school, but even though I had a 3.4 GPA, I still kept getting rejected.
Yeah.
And so I got discouraged. And then, so from the paramedic division, I went into case management. So I started working for Anthem. And so I was in case management for another 4 years. And the whole time, though, I would love looking at homes because I always wanted my own home. I always desired to have my own keys where nobody could put me out, you know, or kick me out or anything like that. And I just remember maybe I could do this. I just remember feeling that. And I had felt that for a long time. And I'm kind of upset with myself. And this is what I want to say. If there's something that is like in your spirit, if there's something that keeps like ding, 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 you're on your soul, you need to pay attention to it. You know, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how crazy it may seem, you need to pursue that. That's your spirit guiding you. So even though I was, you know, an ambulance driver, you know, I took care of patients. I did IVs. I put tubes down people's throats. I had to go and identify dead bodies, you know, to make sure there were no signs of life. I've seen gunshot wounds to the head. I've seen guts hanging out. I've had to lift people that were 400 or 500 pounds, which is me and my partner, who was the same size as me, you know, doing this in blizzard weather, because when you're on an ambulance, there's no days off. On the case management side, I just kept getting unhappier and unhappier to the point where I would almost cry because I knew I had to go to work the next day. And I had to keep telling myself, I know this is not what God wants for me.
What was that one incident that made you just go, I'm going for it. I'm going into real estate. This is something I've wanted.
What I just told you. I was going to work every day and I was miserable. And my checks were good, but I was like, I know this cannot be what God wants for me because I'm unhappy. Like, I'm unhappy. I'm stressing myself out. I go home and cry because I don't want to go to work. So I had to know, and this is where faith comes in, because a lot of times we talk about faith, but some of us don't really know what faith really is. Faith is where you take that leap. You take that leap and you trust that God is going to catch you. And this is where, when it says being in tune with yourself, you have to be in tune with yourself if you're going to take a risk like that. I decided, and when you decide something in your mind, there's this quote that says, move and the way will open. I had made up my mind. I said, I'm going to move. This was early 2019 after I got back from Savior's Day. I'm moving to Georgia and I'm pursuing real estate.
So right before, like, you relocated, that was the move, and you got to Atlanta, and then how did you get in? Did you interview brokerage agencies?
Well, let me tell you what happened. When I was back in Denver, right before I made this decision, I had went to real estate school in Colorado. I went to real estate school. I passed my class, but I don't like taking tests. I don't like taking exams. So I delayed on taking my state exam. And I delayed to the point where I could still take it, but I forgot everything, and I don't know, it was my fear pushed me away from it, and I didn't take my exam. And so that thing that was nagging me, like, you need to do this, it was still there. And so I said, okay, I'm going to Atlanta and I'm going to go to real estate school and I'm going to sell real estate. And that's it. That's the life I want. And so when I decided, I put in my 2-week notice for my job. I put in my notice to vacate my apartment. And how it came about, I didn't know nobody here in Atlanta. And there was a sister that I met at Savior's Day, 2019. And we, I had been making a lot of videos and she's seen a lot of my videos. And, we were chumming it up, talking. And she was like, well, I have an extra room that you can rent. And so I was like, okay, So time went by, and once I had decided, I reached out to her and I said, were you serious about that? And she was like, yes, ma'am. And so that's what happened. I put all my stuff in storage. It's still in storage, sis. I packed up my essentials in my little 1999 Honda, and me and my stepdad, he drove with me to Atlanta, to the sister's house. And I stayed with her for 2.5 months until I got out on my own. So once I arrived here, the real estate school started 7 days later. It was, and how that came about is I researched schools while I was still in Denver. I researched on my job. I was researching, okay, if I'm going to live here, how long is it going to take me to get to school? Like, I was doing all sorts of research, calling on the phone, asking questions about their school. And then I decided on one. And when I got to Atlanta, my stepdad stayed with me because he helped me to navigate the highways. And it was so scary. Oh my God. The whole thing was terrifying. The day that I moved, the day that we left, it was so freezing cold in Colorado. It was one of the coldest nights, coldest days in like a history. And I was still moving stuff to the storage. And it was a lot of trials that happened, a lot of things that got in the way. But that's one thing I want to say is,
you made it. Let me jump in here because I want to get to the meat of real estate, because I really want to hear about how you passed all that, you made it through, you heard the call, you made the move, you get to Atlanta, you passed your exam, and this is an important point for people to hear, a technical point, because a lot of people get their license and then they don't know what to do.
Yes.
Or they thought they wanted to be in real estate and they're like, I think I just want to be on the other side. So tell me about that. You passed your exam and then what?
So look, I passed my exam the first time. There's 2 exams you got to take. You got to pass the course and the national. Pass it on the first time. That exam, it was so difficult. And I cried when I was done because I didn't know, I felt like I failed it. But passing your exam, it's exciting, but that's the easy part.
Right.
As hard as it seems. I got with a brokerage, and that was it. You get thrown in.
Right.
You're thrown in at that point. You sink or you swim.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you were saying before, where people look at real estate and they're like, oh, I'm going to get in real estate. I'm going to make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think with anything, you really have to follow your soul and not what everybody else is doing. Because there's a lot of people out there that are like, say, do this, get a t-shirt business and you'll make $100,000 a month. Do this and you'll get this much a month. Do this and do this. But what is your soul telling you?
So
what is your heart telling you?
Sign up with a brokerage. And
I get thrown in, sis. And I met with competition. That's what I experienced.
Talk about, let's give the people some tools about real estate. How did you get thrown in? What does that mean?
That means you get your license, right? And you have to hang it with a brokerage. You can't just practice real estate on your own. You have to hang it with a broker. A broker is another license, another certification,
sure,
where they take the legal responsibility for you if you happen to mess up in a contract, mm-hmm. or there's some sort of a lawsuit. Mm-hmm. That's why you pay a fee every month to have your license hung with a brokerage.
Did that brokerage firm you were with, did they offer any courses in terms of how you could go out and get listings or how you could get clients? Did they offer administrative support in terms of how to write contracts and things like that?
Yeah, there were classes, and every brokerage does that. It's a common thing where they're like, you know, well, here's this course and here's that course. You know, Kathy Daniels is a big real estate person out here. Her courses are phenomenal and she's great. There's always somebody teaching something. And the brokerage, when I first got with this first brokerage, I'm with my second brokerage, you're given a mentor. And
that's good.
Yeah, to be honest though, you know, I have to be real. I didn't feel like I learned anything, you know, from my mentor, you know, and on my first transaction, it was crazy. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. And I know that these are legal documents that we're dealing with, but you, as a new agent, your broker, your mentor, they're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to show you how to do this business at all.
How did you?
They're not.
And how long did it take for you to get your first deal?
It took me, so I got with the brokerage in November, and I got my first deal, I'm going to say about 6 months later.
So that's an important point, sis, because I started out in real estate sales. I didn't stay there long, but and we'll talk about emphasis, but I had a specific emphasis that I wanted. And it takes a while to get your first deal. That happens both as a developer on the developer side, as well as the sales side. And I've been a developer for a while, and going into the developer side, it takes a while to put that deal together, just like it takes a while to put that deal together on the sales side. And in my particular case, I focused on commercial real estate. Did you have an emphasis that you were focused on?
Yeah, it was residential real estate for the time being. You know what I mean? Because I'm still learning. I want to know it all. Let me master this. And because real estate is big, you know, people, and being a realtor, being an agent, you know, people think you're just showing houses. No, you're not. That's the small part. You know, you're doing a lot of stuff. You are over the transaction, the legal documents. You know, you have to be there. You're kind of like a lawyer would be for their client, but in real estate. Because I've had situations.
Is Georgia an attorney state?
What do you mean attorney state?
So in some states that you may do real estate in, you need an attorney to close a project. Other states, you don't have to have an attorney.
Yeah, and in the state of Georgia, all closings do have to go through an attorney.
That's good.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. But it's a very important job because, especially when it comes, you are in charge basically of people's money. This is the largest transaction they're pretty much going to make in their life, the most money they're going to spend, and you can make them lose that money if you are not on your score. If you don't have your stuff together, you can make them lose a lot of money. That's on the agent. And a lot of stuff can get blamed on the agent too. I have realized that people want the agent to know everything.
Well, you know, I will say, let me say to you, and I'm obviously a lot more seasoned in the industry, but there's certain types of buyers that you learn over time to go after. It's just like being a financial planner. You learn the type of person based on their money psychology. And so once you learn that, because you got, especially when you're new, you kind of are just absorbing everything. And you will spend a lot of time dealing with people who want you to be their end all be all. They want you to ride them around. They want you to show them everything. They don't know anything about the documents. As you become more seasoned, you'll be able to sniff that out a little bit and determine whether or not that's a client that's for you.
That's right.
Or, you know, or not. And so that's something that's important for new real estate agents to realize, like, what's your emphasis? I knew right away, I knew going in that my emphasis was going to be commercial real estate. And I knew right away going in that I wanted to do like urban historic restoration. And then that took a little bit more time to get into, but sniffing out that right client for you is important, because you'll learn that all money ain't good money. And so
that's right.
It took time, I know for me, to figure out that, okay, this client that's a little bit more knowledgeable is my ideal client. But I know people who are great real estate agents who are perfect for that first time buyer, for that person who's just getting their feet wet. And this is true for developers too, because I would get developers who would come to me who were first time developers. And that's a different educational process than people who are first time home buyers as well. So there's some people who they are great in that space. They're like, look, I can help put you in your first home. I can educate you. I can help you with your first development. And because I started out, I was already in business consultant. I didn't start off at that level. And I didn't really have the patience for the first time developers and the first time home buyers. But I think that that's a beautiful niche for people that do have that.
Yes, ma'am. And you're absolutely right. With time, because in the beginning, I was like, just get everybody, anybody, even the clients that gave me a hard time. Like there were, so I realized, and you grow in this business because the business is really you. It is how you want to handle the transaction. It's how you want to make the judgment calls. It's how you learn to deal with a lot of different personalities. And then people bring their husbands on the showings, and they bring their children on the showings, and they bring their grandmother on the showings. And you have to basically cater to all these different kind of people. But make no mistake, I did get to the point where I have fired. I've let go of clients. Like, I don't think this is going to be a good fit. You know, there's 50,000 agents in Georgia. You know, here are a couple I'm referring to you. And, you know, I wish you the best in your home shopping journey. Because there's just some stuff, like you said, all money ain't good money. And I'm not a punk. You know, I'm not going to let you punk me around. And I've had that.
So
I've had it happen.
What were some of the things, because I know I get a lot of questions from new real estate agents, because there's so many, and I listen and it cracks me up, because for somebody who's been in real estate for a while, I hear all these fancy things that people are doing with the closings and all of that. And it's hilarious to me. But what are some of the reasons why you would decide that a client is not for you?
Respect.
Okay.
Do unto others. I've had agents who I tell them, I mean, not agents, clients, you know, who I've told them, these are my hours. They want you to be at their beck and call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And how did that impact your sales? I would be, because for me, I was at the beck and call. I was 24 hours. I was picking up the phone. If it didn't ring, I was like, is the phone broke? But it kills me now when I'm, as a developer, trying to buy something or hear about something, or I see something that I'm interested in, and the agent doesn't call me back. Like they wait until 2 days later, and I'm
And
like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
Holding the phone in my hand when I was a broker.
exactly. And that is one of my things. When I know I have a client, a serious client, that means you sign my brokerage agreement to work only with me.
So you only
Not,
you only do exclusive client relationships?
I don't work with any clients if they're seeing Jesse, Jane, and Jack.
Okay.
Like, I don't work like that.
So I think that's an important point to point out to people who are going into real estate, whether they're in on the consumer side or the developer side. There's agents like you. You're like, I sign exclusive contracts with people, and then what that means when you sign with a person like that, that person's going to go above and beyond to help you find what you want.
Exactly.
For developers, I think that's also important, because if you as a developer can find a good agent that's going to hunt for the right property for you, they're going to hear about things that are off the market. They're going to be a little bit more professionally intuitive about how to help you find that property. Same thing with first-time buyers or people who are just trying to buy something. Now, other times, there's people who don't, sometimes after you get a little bit more seasoned, you don't want to commit to somebody like that. But I think that that's a good point to point out, because as a new agent, being able to make those successful relationships is critical, because real estate's all about repeat business. I have the same people that I've been doing real estate business with probably for the last 20 something years.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yep. And I feel like you have to know your value in this business. That's one thing when I first got started and I came to Atlanta and I started seeing what all the other sisters were doing to be successful. And I did get discouraged, because I was thinking, you know, do I have to be like that? I don't want to have to be the whole Hollywood, the whole pound of makeup,
Well,
the whole
Atlanta, right?
and I didn't know this until I actually got here, right?
In Chicago, we're a little bit more down and dirty. We put on our Timbs and we get in dirty with our clients and help them. It's a little bit different game.
Yeah, and then I realized all I got to do is just be me. I got to have faith in me and just be me, you know, and you have to demand your respect in this business. You have to, when you get with the brokerage, you have to learn this business. You have to take the initiative to study this business and learn this business. You have to learn the lingo, learn the contracts. And when you're dealing with a client, you can't be talking to them like you're scared, like you're the expert. You are supposed to be the expert. And if there's something you don't know, then just say it, because this field is huge. Even doctors don't know everything, but we trust you.
What suggestion would you give to new real estate agents out here who are saying, I'm trying to figure out how to find my way, but most importantly, how in the world do I find clients? What techniques did you use to find clients who you actually closed deals on?
I would say it's marketing. You have to market yourself, and people do it in 100 ways. You need to go and research that. Like, literally, you have to, any questions you have, you need to find out for yourself. You need to Google, you need to go on YouTube and watch videos, which is what I did. You need to have faith in yourself. And what I did, all my business has been 100% referral and social media. All of it. I've never been door knocking. I've never called on the phone. I've never been, hanging stuff on people's doors. I have my business cards, and I will spark up a conversation and give my business card. I do my videos on YouTube. It's the marketing.
So that's good to know. Let's unpack that a little bit, because you mentioned that there's marketing and you talked about doing research. And of course, marketing is really all based on the competition in the market that you're in, right? So it depends on how's the market move and how the other agents, for example, in Atlanta, how do they move? Do you, for example, here in Chicago, we pound pavement. And we go to events, we go to door, we make the phone calls, we find the warm leads and the cold leads. you know, that kind of thing. And then we turn over those relationships. But that's kind of how the market is here. And so as a new agent, you would have to know how best do you get out there and find your customer. Here, joining organizations is important. Construction organizations, so you can get in with developers who are going to be putting a number of different listings out there. Let's say a developer who is building a 2-flat, 4-flat, 8-flat building. You want to get that listing. And so you want,
I like that.
yeah, you want to go out there and get in the room with those people. You want to go knock on their office doors. You want to make those phone calls. And referral business is good if you got a really good referral base. And a lot of that depends on the city that you're in. But the key thing is, as a new agent, finding those developers, and there's a lot now because the foreclosure market is up. You have a lot of foreclosure agents trying to sell properties, which then means your renters are going to be up. So the developers who are building properties that are multi-unit properties are going to be great targets for individuals like yourself. So somebody like me who would say, I'm going to do a 16 unit, I would be a great target for you. But figuring out, like, how would I attract somebody like Sister Sajdah if she's building a medical facility and she's building out medical offices? How do I attract that so I can get those listings? That's how you get yourself that longevity in the business, so that your cash flow is still going, is making those phone calls, warm calls, door knocking. With COVID, we know people aren't doing that as much, but picking up that phone.
And that was another thing. And you're right. That was another thing. When I first got here to Atlanta, Savior's Day was the next Savior's Day. And then that's when COVID was coming out, right? When we got back from Savior's Day 2019, everybody started wearing their masks, and then it was so it was difficult.
Yeah.
I was even, because I'm one of those people, I still wear my mask. I still don't be everywhere. I be in my house still, you know. So I was not about to be going to no events. I was not about to be nothing. Like, nobody's getting in my car. That's one thing I don't do either. Like, with this COVID, I don't drive you. I'm not a chauffeur, you know. Even with my relocation clients, when you come into the city, you do need to have your own transportation. That's a liability, you know, and my brokerage doesn't do that either. So some of the things I do because it's my brokerage's, you know, that's what my brokerage requires. So everything is not just me.
I understand.
But yeah, like you said, so getting out there and not everyone is outgoing like that in this business. Like, I'm very introverted.
There's so many people now, everybody and their mama's into real estate. So
it's true.
How to distinguish yourself from, person, and what services do you offer? My brother's a real estate agent, and he's great at offering additional services that the other agents wouldn't offer. So if he's got a property and somebody is looking to sell it, he'll help stage it. He'll help make it presentable. And he'll do that even sometimes out of his own money so that he could get that big commission check. But he'll stage it. He'll set up pizza parties, you know, and different things like that, just to distinguish, because he's in California where the real estate market is bananas.
It is bananas. Oh my gosh. It is. Yes, ma'am. And to be honest, to distinguish myself, and like you said early on, you know, everybody and their mama is in real estate, and the competition, I don't even see any of that. I don't see it. I don't recognize it. Do you? If door knocking works for you, door knock. But I don't want a door knock. If calling on the phone works for you, do that. But I don't want to make phone calls. I'd rather make phone calls than go on
business, right?
Sis, I have people say my name because of what I do on my social media pages.
Okay.
And it's been working for me.
That's good.
So I feel like, you know, when you approach something, there's this book that I have that says you have to think for yourself. Like, really think, like, how do you want to do this business? do you want to go door knocking, or do you feel like you have to? What's the, I don't really want to do it. Okay, I'm not going to do it. What do you want to do? You know, so in my business, it's just Latasha's world. Allah has been keeping me. I have not had to get a second job. He has been keeping me afloat since 2019, doing real estate only. And yes, I do want to encourage myself to do other things, to step out of my box, because I am in a box. Because I really don't like being around a whole bunch of people. Like, it's uncomfortable to me to go into a room full of people and be like, hey, you know, I'm Latasha Muhammad, I'm a realtor, here's my card. Like, I don't want to be that agent where there's that thing of desperation, like, because I don't want to roll like that. You know, I'm just Latasha.
I wouldn't call that desperation, because some people.
Yeah, I think that was the wrong word, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Desperation. Yeah, because some people are just great. Some people are just people.
Yeah, and I don't know that I am.
Yeah, it depends on your personality. You want to find who you are and who your niche is. Like for me, I know when I get in your face, I got you sold. So I go to a room and work a room.
Yeah.
And I'm out of there with 10 deals.
You're right.
But that's just different. But if you know, so you know who you are. You like, hey, it's a referral business for me, which is cool. And consider, I would suggest to you to expand. If it is referral business, find some people who are interested in developing. Be their exclusive agent if you can. Because the worst thing that happens is when you develop a property and then you sit on it.
Yeah.
Go through all this stuff and you're sitting there, you got this wonderful 3-flat building, you know you put everything in it, and you know, you want to go out there. Yeah, I see my cousins like, I'm the opposite. I meet no stranger. Our grandmothers are sisters, so we're the same in that. We meet no strangers. So I was at an event last night. I went by myself. I was meeting all kind of people. But you have to know your personality. But I would suggest, especially to realtors that are out there who are new, find somebody who's looking to get into development, especially even a new developer. That way you can be their exclusive agent. If they say, hey, I'm developing this 4-flat building, this 3-flat building, then what you can say is, you know what, let me list it for you. Let me market it for you. And then create all the marketing around it, since you're more of a referral-based type of business.
Right.
And then those developers know, as soon as they tell you, I'm developing this property, you'll have the units sold before they even finish. That's how you get good with a developer. If you develop a 4-unit property, I don't want to sit on it.
Now, how do you find a developer? Because I'm taking notes. Because look, I'm into my 3rd year, and I'm learning something all the time. I still feel new. I'm still new, even in my 3rd year. I learned something. There's stuff I need to learn. There's stuff I need to do. I need to be more sociable. But I'm just.
Well, for me, I would go to developer conferences and work the room. But for you, since that's not really your personality, you use social media a lot, you said. So if you use social media a lot, then start reaching out to developers, people who are interested in, developing properties. Reach out to those kind of people. The only thing I would say to you is that you then are, because you aren't really a door knocker or a pounder like that. Then just know that you got to figure out what you got to do to make yourself stand out above the other people who like myself. If I was still selling and I meet no stranger, then I'm going to work a room. I'm going to be very social with that person. I'm going to give them a ride to the property. I'm going to go there. I'm going to meet them. I'm going to get into them. I'm going to help them. People, my friends call me and I got friends on here now who will tell you, even to this day, if they're buying a property, they'll say, you got time to go with me? Heck yeah, I'll go with you. We're going to look at stuff. We're going to pull back carpets. Because that is not something you're into, You want to find a niche, something about yourself that makes you stand out above that person. Because for those of us that have been successful in the game, so Sister Aletha's on here, I will go and pound the pavement with her. She knows. I'll knock on doors with her. We'll go up to houses that aren't even out there for sale and say, excuse me, are you interested in selling your property?
Like wholesaling?
Oh, yeah. My journey in real estate is different, because I would be in the streets and go out there and try to sell it and get to know it. So the point I'm making, though, is that doesn't have to be for everybody. There's a way to be in this game and do it the way you want to do it. You just have to find your niche. You have to find those techniques that will work for you and your personality, and understand that, thank you, Sister Aletha, and understand that for somebody like me, finding that right property and helping my client is a must.
Yes.
Is it desperation? Probably, because I'm holding the phone because that's how bad I want to serve them. If they say, if Sister Aletha or my cousin's on here and she's like, hey, I'm looking for a 2-flat, will you help me, cuz? Or sis, will you help me? Or any other brothers that I work with on Oasis, and they say, hey, we're working on something, I'm holding the phone because that's how bad I want to serve them. I want to serve them almost more than I want to serve myself, because I want to add value. So,
and you know what? So that's important. That is important. And that's me. When I have a client and I know they're serious about working with me, I will answer your call at 11 o'clock at night. I will respond to your text message at that time. But I have found also in the beginning of this business, you have to understand when somebody's wasting your time, because a lot of time can be wasted. But like you said, for me, yeah, this is how I make my living. It's my full time. But if there's a property I don't think is a good fit for you, I'm not going to push you to get it so I can get a commission check. Yeah. Like that will never be me. I will never advise my client to get something that I know is red flags after we close. Never. I don't care if the commission check is 6 figures. It ain't going to happen with me. And this business, you have to have that type of integrity to protect your clients, because you have to protect their earnest money. You have to protect their due diligence period. You have to protect the stuff in the inspection report. You have to protect them when the appraisal report comes back. You have to make sure you're there to give them all the options. Do you want to back out? You can get your money back now. Do you want to terminate? If you don't terminate, this is what's going to happen. Like, you have to be ahead of the game and let them know the steps. And you got to literally take their hand and walk with them through the journey.
And I will say to you that for new buyers, that's perfect. And for people who this is a serious purchase for them, be open, because when you get more seasoned buyers, like, I might not mind if there's a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
I might not mind if it's got a bad inspection report, because I'm a seasoned developer, and so I'm going to think I can get around that, or here's what I can do with that, or or the fact that I may have to repair the roof is not that big of a deal because of what I'm going to sell it for. So when you meet somebody like that, your thing is just being transparent.
And exactly. And actually, my last client, what was my last closing? My last closing, my client was like that. She knew exactly what she wanted. She knew even my job as an agent is to tell you if you're going to be responsible for that roof. That's going to be an estimated $10,000. Okay, cool. As long as you are, okay, cool, I got this, then I'm good. Then I'm good. Because this is not about my decisions, it's the client's decisions. So yeah, my last client was like that, and I really appreciated that. And I liked her, as long as I was clear on what would happen, what's going to happen, what you could face, and they were okay with that. That's cool. Like the inspection, I would never tell a client to waive it. Never, never, never. But if I have a client that's like, look, I want this place and I'll do whatever it takes to get it. Okay, sure. This is your world.
Yeah, and the inspection report's a great way to begin your workflow as a developer. So that's another piece that you can let your potential developers know. If you're selling a 2-flat or a 3-flat or 18-unit building and the building has some issues, if you say, hey, get an inspection report, that can be the beginning, like I said, of your workflow, the beginning of you getting your estimates and things like that. So that can be used, you know, as a way to help you depending on the client, or help the client depending on who they are and what it is that they do. But when you find those developers and they don't mind coming in and fixing that roof, and you know that it's a fix and flip for them, then say to them, hey, I want to be here for you when you make that sale. And then you start getting those listings, because that's when you start getting into the money, when you got 5 or 6 listings. And then you can sell when you feel like it, because you got listings out there.
And that's actually, I have something on the table right now with an investor who purchased, and they're going to, you know, turn it into a turnkey, beautiful property, and we're going to put it back on the market. So that's happening right now. That'll be my second deal with an investor. And that's actually what's going on right now in Atlanta. The market here is not going to slow down. So if you're one of those buyers who are like, well, we're going to wait until it slows down, you're going to be waiting a while. It's still very hot here. Rents are crazy. I'm an agent that I don't do rental properties. I just do buying and selling, and I can do commercial as well. But you really, and I know that the market is hot in Atlanta and it's not going to slow down. And I hear agents, you know, who have just kind of discouraged buyers, but I'm not that agent. In every client that I've had, we've found them something. Something is out there. And I wouldn't discourage you or tell you to wait. I would tell you to have faith, because it's out there.
That is that, and this is the way you look at any market. Things don't necessarily slow down, they just change.
Yeah, they fluctuate.
Yeah, you just have to understand what those changes are. So you have these market terms, slow down, uptick, fluctuation. Really, they just change. The market fixes and corrects itself, and it just moves. And so sometimes when you use that language and help people get it, like it's going to always be changing, then it takes the stick out of their hand. It reduces some of the stress. And I try to educate them on how the market moves. So if they say, hey, I want to get in my first investment property, then I say, okay, here's where the market is from an economic standpoint. And this is what it's going to take for you to get in the game.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things, because what happens for us a lot of times with real estate, even with our brokers and stuff, there's a lot of emotion. There's way too much emotion, and people are buying and selling off of emotion. The agents are emotion. Everybody's reacting. It's like, you know what? If you settle and understand, what is this market doing? And what it takes for me to get in the game right now?
Yes.
And what's it going to look like 6 months from now? What's going to happen, you know, when foreclosures go up and you got all the foreclosure markets hitting that? Well, how's that going to affect retail sales versus wholesale sales and things like that?
Yeah.
To explain that to people. And I think that's what, for me, that's what I believe a lot of Black people need, is we need somebody to just explain the market to us.
Well, we need that, but we need we need the dinner table talks that none of us hardly ever received. We need to know the value of property and ownership and land.
Well, we need to piggyback off the trend, because right now real estate's hot among our people.
Yeah, and I'm so happy about that. Yeah, I'm so happy about that.
A lot of us get it. So now, as Black professionals in real estate, we just need to educate them about the market, because they're going to be nervous, they're upset, there's so much game playing out there, there's a lot of racism.
It is.
There's a lot of shadow boycotting and redlining that still occurs. And
it does.
People just don't understand that it's happening. They think it's just the emotion. So what I find is that people come to the table and there's just all this emotion. And I see the agents are also emotional. And I'm like, look, time out. Let's have a market discussion. Yeah. Let's have a market discussion. Let's talk about what is happening in the market. and what it's going to take for you to participate, because we're there now.
Yeah, we're there. And you know, it's interesting because there's so many offers going in on one property right now in Atlanta. And one of the dominators in in residential real estate are investors. Investors and bigger corporations who are buying up. Mm-hmm. They're buying up, and they're cash people. You know,
that study that just came out, they said that in places like Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, New York, that the majority of the home sales were sales from corporations and investors, or buyers for corporations and investors. A big study just came out.
I did not see that study, but I know it to be true. And if you are a developer, if you are an investor, Atlanta is one of the #1 hot spots for investors and, you know, the developers as well, because we still have low inventory, which is why it's crazy for buyers. Mm-hmm. So if you're flipping a property, you know, I just want to say, make it quality. Okay. Because I've seen flips that were trash. Yeah. And I wouldn't pay the money. Yeah. I wouldn't pay the money for it. So if you're going to be a flipper, if you're going to be an investor and you're going to flip a property, do it right. Like, don't shortchange the person who's going to be living there and their family.
I agree.
That's what I do want to say. I've seen a lot of flips that were trash.
100%. 100%. You walk into some of these properties and you can tell that they didn't really know what they were doing. They were trying to save money. I see people are crooked and all this other stuff. So you do have to be careful, and you got to know what you're looking for. If you are out there and you're a new developer, make sure you do a quality job, as our sister advises. But then also, if you're a buyer, make sure you know what you're looking at. You know, I can walk in a house and tell where they cut corners and if they cut corners. And if they cut it in one place, then 9 times out of 10, they're cutting it in another place. So
exactly. And that's when I go into a property, you know, with someone, I'm pointing stuff out. I'm not impressed. Like, I'm honest with my clients 100%. We can look at 20 properties, but, you know, I'll tell you the honest truth about them all, you know, and then I encourage them to, you know, sometimes they're like, well, that doesn't really matter to me. You know, okay, all right, I'm just letting you know. But yes, ma'am. And in this business, you don't start off being confident. No, ma'am, you do not start off being confident. It builds and it grows. And in each transaction that you do, you grow as an agent, you grow as a realtor, you grow as a professional, as a businesswoman, and you get stronger. Because each transaction carries with it its own set of problems.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
its own set of problems.
Well, sis, I want to really thank you for joining us here today. Let's see, what did my cousin say? She said, would you prioritize getting your primary residence first or sacrificing for a year or so and getting an investment property first instead? So I would answer that, cuz, by saying your primary residence is an investment as well. So both are investment properties. So invest in yourself first and secure yourself first. It's still an investment. Just because it's your primary residence doesn't make it your investment. This is how you can, you know, make millions of dollars off of getting the right primary residence. And then you can move into investment properties and stuff like that. But look at your primary as a investment as well. And one of the things that I'm going to do, and I've been thinking, and I'll let you know, sis, is just having a market discussion conversation about the industry that people can tap into, so that they're armed with the information, because that will help take out some of the emotion and prevent people from following their money behind all of this emotion that's in the industry. And so stay tuned for that. I will let you know. And I want people who will come there that will just talk about the different markets that are out here in the country, people who keep up, people who know what is going on. Right now, it seems like here in Chicago is for sale. So we have so much property that is available and for sale. I mean, at decent prices. And so it's a different game. And so
really, is it a buyer's market there?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff that's out here, and especially if you want to get into commercial real estate, a lot of good stuff. So
Interesting. Okay.
Chicago right now, you know, is good for that. And I think, and different markets are different, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then the price point makes a difference. If you're between that $200,000 and $500,000 price space, you better hurry up and get it because you're gonna be out of there. But
No, it's
if you're
true.
looking for something that's a little bit more expensive, you can probably really get a good deal because that's not where the majority of the people are purchasing.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. One of the questions were about is the seller responsible for closing costs? No, they're actually not responsible for closing costs. The buyer is responsible.
Depending on the deal.
Depending on the deal, because everything is negotiable.
Yes.
So in a lot of the contracts, the buyer will ask the seller to either pay the closing costs completely or some of them.
Yeah.
And in this market in Atlanta, right now, if you're asking for anything, your deal is going straight out the window. They're not even going to look at it. They'll say, oh, they want closing costs? Nope. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the market. You can ask for them, but it's going to make your offer look weak.
Yeah. And all they can do is say no.
All they can do is say no. And that's when I have that conversation. How bad do you want this house? I'm telling you, if you ask for closing costs, this is what's going to happen. Do you still want to do it? Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, sis. Well, thank you, and stay tuned. I'm going to work on this real estate education. Really, just probably like a Zoom or some kind of live where people can come on and just ask questions about the market.
And you know what? I thank you so much. Please keep me posted. I want to stay in contact with you. There's a ton of agents, you know, in the nation, and you know, other agents where I think a Zoom with all of us maybe would even just be phenomenal to just educate people.
Yeah, and this will be open to the broader community. It's open to everybody.
I love it.
The idea is that, you know, real estate is universal.
I love it. Yes.
It's all about expanding your palette and expanding your market.
Yes.
I've done real estate deals with people all around the world. So
yes,
you don't want to discriminate over who. That's what the predatory capitalists have done. They've discriminated and said, I only work with this person or that person. We still have people like that in Chicago that only work for folks from in their demographic. So
right.
About a minute left before they come.
We have about a minute. Okay, I really want to continue this because I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to bring up, there's this argument that I see people bring about, well, if you own property, you don't really own it because you still have to pay taxes even when you pay it off, and they want to gripe about paying a mortgage. And I'm like, Boss Marianne had a mortgage, you know, the messenger's property had a mortgage. Like, that's how you're going to get a property unless you buy it straight out with cash. It's going to be a
strategy. That's all strategy. That
we have a lot to talk about. Thank you so much.
But we won't put the nation's business out there like that. It's all strategy. Give your website. So if somebody's in Atlanta and they're looking to buy a property, how do they reach you?
My social media.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your social media handle so they know it.
It's Daughter of Allah 19. And then I have another one that's strictly real estate, and it's She Closed It. Okay. At She Closed It, yeah.
At She Closed It. So you guys thank our guests. Everybody say something in the chat to our guests. Go follow her at She Closed It. And if you're looking for property in Atlanta, that's your sister. So look
thank you
tonight, 6 p.m. on the Plug Room with my brother Juan Carlos X, and we're going to be talking about independent historic restoration. Thank you, Sister Latasha, and thank you for everybody for joining us.
Thank you so much. Y'all take care.